Do you feel like you're constantly auditioning for your own life? If so, you're not alone. Me too sometimes. Well, in the past. Welcome back to Sustainable Success and Sanity, the podcast for high achievers who are tired of performing their life and finally ready to live it to the fullest. I'm Tiffany. I am a resilience coach. I am your therapist friend. Yeah, that's right. I'm licensed. And the shining hybrid. I'll explain that sometime in a future episode. So let me tell you something that might feel uncomfortable, but is very true. A lot of us started performing before we could even speak. Yeah, we learned early on that approval came when we were helpful, praise came when we were exceptional, and love felt way more available when other people thought we were impressive. Yeah, I mean it. Many of us were taught, our society, our families, our friends, the systems that we participate in, even sports, that performance is important. So, of course, somewhere along the way, that innocent desire to be seen turned into what feels like a lifelong audition and performance. For me, quite literally, okay? I'm a former pageant title holder, coach, and director. So I know the meaning of auditioning for others. Now, don't get me wrong. I love me a good pageant. I'm a pageant-aholic, okay? I really do see the value in pageants, and I love them. I do. And that's the true essence of performance, for women at least. But I understand, for many of us, it seems very all of a sudden that your life is really just a performance all the time. That every room becomes some kind of stage. Every relationship feels like a test. And every achievement really like a temporary permission slip to feel worthy. I get it. If you recognize yourself in any of those statements, you're not broken. You're not, I promise. If you feel like everything is a stage, you're not broken. You were trained that way. Well, all of us, most of us, were trained that way. So today's tool is one of the most important in the Sustainable Success and Sanity Toolbox. We're going to get into tangible tips and tricks in future episodes, but today is really important. It's the 3 P's check. Okay, the 3 P's show up anytime you are performing your worth. Yeah, I said it. Anytime you're performing your worth versus demonstrating or displaying your value. Okay, so some of these may sound real familiar, okay, but we're going to go over them today anyways. The 3 P's are people pleasing, perfectionism, and proving. Yeah, I said it. So number 1, in case you're not familiar, people pleasing is when you're hustling for acceptance. Yes, when you're hustling for acceptance and not alignment. Now, if you're like, what does that have to do with anything, Tiff? Alignment? Please go back and watch episode 1 where we talk about the alignment check-in, okay? But people pleasing is anytime you're hustling for acceptance and not alignment. One way to determine if you are people pleasing is to ask yourself a really important question. Am I doing this to be liked or because it's true to me? Yes. Am I doing this to be liked or because it's true to me? Now I'll admit, again, I like me some pageants. Pageants were for me. I love the beautiful gowns, the opportunity to really perform, and to capture an audience with my grace, poise, and articulation. Yeah, I'm a pageant girl, okay? Also, I do like a good rhinestone tiara, okay? Who does not like a crown, okay? I like shiny things. But that said, I know that is not the case for many people, okay? Not everybody likes to actually perform in that way. I like it. But that's not what we're talking about. Which brings us to number 2, perfectionism. Perfectionism is when you're trying to outrun shame by being flawless. Flawless. Let's be clear, flawless does not exist, okay? Perfect does not exist. So how do you know if you're chasing perfectionism? It may seem obvious, but it's not for a lot of people. A lot of you do not recognize you suffer from this particular trait, right? This particular symptom. So I want you to ask yourself, what happens if this thing or this outcome is just good enough, right? Ask yourself, how okay will I or other people be if this isn't perfect? Okay, if it makes you uncomfortable to think of something not being perfect, if you are convinced that the world is going to fall apart if it's not perfect, you might be suffering from perfectionism. Which brings us to number 3, proving. Proving is when you're measuring your value and output in accomplishments, right? Let me say it again. Proving is when you measure your value in output and accomplishments, that you really truly think your worth is based on what you do. Okay. Newsflash, it's not. Okay. So to identify if you're doing something to prove it to someone else, ask yourself, who am I trying to convince? And why does their opinion matter more than my own? Again, I come from a really funky family dynamic, okay? So proving was a big part of my life. I was trying to prove a lot to a lot of people for a whole bunch of different reasons. And to prevent burnout, I had to start asking this question. Who am I trying to convince? And why does their opinion matter more than my own? Yeah, ask yourself that. So these are the 3 P's, right? The 3 P's are symptoms. I kind of said that earlier. I hinted at it. These are symptoms, not identity traits. And a lot of people get that wrong, okay? These are not identity traits. They are survival strategies you developed in environments that didn't make you feel safe or seen unless you were performing. Yes. Many of my clients and myself sometimes struggle with this. They come to me, they have extreme anxiety, right? And some depression because of perfectionism, because of proving. And they have done it so long, they think it's just who they are. We've heard it, right? I'm a perfectionist. I suffer from perfectionism. That is not your identity. That's not a personality trait, okay? That is a symptom of being in environments where you didn't feel safe or seen unless you were performing, unless you were achieving, okay? So don't worry. I get it. I really do. Many of us have been there in our lives. But again, it's a symptom. It's not your personality. So here's the truth. You cannot outperform. You cannot outperform your way into feeling enough, right? So I'm going to say it again because I want you to hear it. You cannot outperform your way into feeling enough. I want you to listen to it. You cannot outperform your way into feeling enough, especially for people who don't value you in the first place. There's no achievement big enough to silence an unhealed belief. So that's 2 parts. You will never outperform your way into feeling enough for people who do not value you in the first place. That's a whole nother episode, okay? And there is no achievement big enough to silence your unhealed belief within you. What I mean by that is, worthiness isn't earned, it's remembered. You do not need to earn worth. You need to remember your worth. You are already what you've been performing. Yeah, I said it. You already are what you've been performing. And so this is the moment you get to retire from the audition. Right now, in this episode, you get to retire from the audition. No more 3 Ps. Today's affirmations are intended to rewire your mindset, to stop performing, right? To stop proving, to stop chasing perfectionism. So let's take a moment. We are going to rewire ourselves this week, okay? I want you to change from the people pleaser, prover, performer to someone who is self-aligned. So before we do that, as we always do, we're going to take a deep breath in, hold it, and breathe out together. And then we are going to repeat the affirmations. So let's do that now. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and breathe out. Now repeat these affirmations after me. I am enough without performance. Yes, you are. Next. I release the need to prove my worth. Please do. Next. I choose authenticity over approval. Yes, please choose authenticity. Please choose you over everybody else's approval, because that is a headache, okay? And last but not least, who I am is already valuable. One more time. Who I am is already valuable. Yes, you are. You are already valuable just as you are. You are already valuable just as you are. And you need to remember that. It's a foundation to burnout prevention. It's the foundation to sustainable success and sanity. You need to have a strong sense of self. We're going to get into more tangibles, I promise you. But right now, I really hope you rewind, play, pause, and repeat these affirmations throughout the week. We need to rewire ourselves out of perfectionism, out of proving, out of performing. All right? So go back, rewind, play, pause, repeat all week. And I will see you in the next Sustainable Success and Sanity episode.